Debt snowball versus debt avalanche. Which debt payoff strategy works better? You want to build wealth and gain financial independence to spend guilt-free on whatever you want, like travel or hobbies. But as soon as you get paid, your money goes straight out the door to pay off what you owe, not to mention thousands of dollars down the drain to pay the interest. Student loans, car loans, credit cards. It is so stressful and you feel stuck. I totally get it. I graduated into the Great Recession owing about $35,000 on student loans and a car loan. Every single month I was paying almost $700 towards my debt. I wanted freedom, security, and I wanted to get rid of those debt payments as soon as possible. I paid everything off within 36 months of graduating, and I wasn't living on beans and rice, and I wasn't sitting at home with no social life, and did things like travel. The thing that I'm most proud of is I was only earning about $50,000 or $60,000. You don't need to earn six figures or spend the rest of your life paying off debt. You can turn things around. If I can do it, you can too, and I will show you exactly how. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? We're going to dive deep into the two common debt payoff strategies, the debt snowball versus debt avalanche, what they are, the pros and cons of each of them, and an example. There is one thing that the avalanche and the snowball method lack. I will tell you what that is and what I recommend to do instead. I will share with you my signature system that is completely different. It's called the Spartan Method to pay off debt. First, let's talk about the snowball method. How this works is you will pay off the smallest to the largest debt regardless of your interest rates. There are 4 simple steps. First, you'll list out all of your debts with the smallest balance owed first. Then you will pay all of the minimums, and then you will pay an extra amount to the smallest debt. Once that smallest debt is paid, you will then take that old minimum plus that extra amount and go towards your next smallest debt, so on and so forth until you are 100% debt free. Next, the avalanche method is totally the opposite. You will pay off your debt according to the highest interest to the lowest interest, regardless of how much is owed on each debt. First, you're going to list all of your debts, and then you will pay the minimums on all of them. You will pay that set extra amount on the highest interest debt, and then once that highest interest debt is paid, you will take the old minimum plus the extra amount to go towards the next highest interest debt, so on and so forth until you are debt free. Now, both of these have an emphasis on paying as much extra as you possibly can, but they're a little bit ambiguous. Let's talk about the pros and cons of both of these. For the snowball method, the pro of the snowball method is you will build momentum and quick wins. It simplifies finances by eliminating debts faster. And this process is especially known for helping emotionally and behavioral. It is a psychological thing. And so people feel a relief when they see those small debts being paid and one less debt to worry about. The cons of the snowball method is it is going to cost you more in interest overall, and it takes longer overall because you are spending more on interest. On the contrary, here are the pros and cons with the avalanche method. The pro of the avalanche method is you are going to save the most on interest, and you are also going to pay off your debt the absolute fastest with this method. The cons to this method are it is going to potentially take you longer to eliminate that first debt. For some people, this progress may feel a little bit longer and not getting that quick win as you would with paying the smallest debt first. Before we look at an example, I know a lot of people wonder, well, should I invest if I do have debt? I covered an entire video on that. You can check that out. And my signature process for dealing with what order of operation debt versus investing is with the finance plan. So as a recap, if you're new around here, the finance plan is your step 1, 2, 3, and 4 with money. The first step with the finance plan is to save 10%. If you're currently paying off debt, you do 5 towards a start emergency fund, 5 towards retirement. Step number 2 is then to focus on paying off your debt. I will share with you the Spartan method soon, but let me show you a quick example. I do recommend wherever you are with your debt payoff progress to write down your debts. If you want to start a finance plan, you can grab this guide. It is in the link below. So let's take a look. When it comes to managing money, the most important thing to do is to start. That is exactly why I created this very guide. In this guide, you can start a plan to pay off debt and invest and follow the finance plan. It's your step 1, 2, 3, and 4. This breaks it down step by step for you. It starts off with a money quiz. You can see if you're financially healthy or stressed by answering these 23 questions, and then you will start the finance plan with step number 1, which is to invest. There is an investing checklist. Today, we're focusing on step number 2 of the finance plan, which is to get out of debt. Here, we're going to look at an average debt load. We are going to first look at the snowball method. With the snowball method, you are listing your debt in order of the smallest balance first and not paying attention to the interest rate. Here in this example, we have a hospital debt with 0% interest, $1,000 balance, and a monthly payment of $50. There's a car loan with 5% interest, $8,000 balance, and $350 monthly payment. Student loan with 6.5% interest, $14,000 balance, $275. Credit card has 24% interest with $20,000, $450 monthly minimum payment. In the debt snowball in Avalanche method, you are not actually going to really pay attention to the monthly payment at all, except the big thing is you are going to pay as much as you possibly can extra to the monthly payments. And the key is to keep those monthly payments as the debts are paid. With the snowball though, you will pay the extra amount towards that smallest debt. In this case, it's the hospital. So you do, for example, let's say 200 extra. So it'd be 200 plus 50 going towards that hospital debt until it's paid off. Once that's paid off, you'll take that 200 plus that 50 and then go towards the next smallest debt. In this example, we are looking at $43,000 in debt with a monthly payment of $1,125 as the minimums. On the other hand, let's take a look and we would organize these for the Avalanche method, which would be focusing on tackling the highest interest debt first. In this case, we list them with the highest to the lowest interest rates. The credit card, student loan, car loan, and then the hospital is the last. We will be paying extra first towards the highest interest, which in this case would be the credit card debt. Once that's paid, then you would focus on the next highest interest debt. Again, both these examples, we'd have the same debt and the same minimum payments. Just where you're putting the extra is going to change based off of the interest rate. Does paying extra to the smallest debt or the highest interest debt make a real difference? How much are you going to save in interest? How fast can you pay it off? Let's take a look with these exact numbers. In both of these scenarios, we're going to assume that you are paying all the minimums plus a set 200 extra. It's just going to vary if that 200 extra is going towards the smallest debt or the highest interest. And we are also going to assume that you are not taking on any new debt. Here's an example with a debt snowball. We're going to pay 200 extra to the smallest debt. In this case, the smallest debt is the hospital bill, which is $1,000. The monthly minimum is $50. So we'll pay 200 plus that 50. So $250 every month towards that debt until it's paid off. The hospital debt will then take 4 months to pay off and you will have paid $0 in interest. Once the hospital debt is paid, you will take that 200 plus that 50 and pay towards the next smallest debt, which is the car loan. This is $8,000 and then the monthly payment is $350. So you'll pay $350 plus $250 and the car loan would then be paid off in 16 months. You will have then paid $302 on the car loan in interest. As you can see, these are two very quick wins and it feels psychologically amazing and positive to have those behind you. Once you have those paid off, you will continue with the snowball. You'll take the 50 plus 350 plus 200 and pay extra towards that next smallest balance, which is the student loan or $14,000. You will then take 29 months to pay off the student loan. You will have paid $1,459 in interest on the student loan. Credit card has the highest balance and the highest interest rate. Interest rate is going to be massively accumulating with this method, which is the main downfall. You will then take all of the payments plus that 200 and go towards that credit card. So essentially, once you have the credit card left, you'll just be paying $1,325 each month to the credit card. You will have the credit card completely paid off with everything else within 45 months. Unfortunately, you will have then paid $14,117 in interest on the credit card. The summary with the debt snowball, you will pay $15,878 in interest and it'll take you 45 months to pay everything off. Paying $43,000 off in 45 months is not too shabby, but that interest, oh my gosh, almost $16,000. That makes me want to gag, which is why, spoiler, I am a fan of paying the highest interest set first. So let's take a look at what this looks like. How much are you going to save when you pay extra towards the highest interest set? And are you going to pay it off faster or longer? We'll look at the numbers. I personally, since I am an advocate of the highest interest debt, I have a debt calculator. This is inside of my financial day planner. It's a day planner and financial plan in one. If you want to see how fast you can pay off your debt, you can grab yours. It's in the link in the description below. It comes with a personal finance mini course. This is the debt calculator that I created and I absolutely love it. You can enter in your current date and then see what it takes for you to become debt free. In this debt calculator, technically you actually don't have to list them in order of interest rates or balances or anything. Once once you enter in your information, it'll automatically show you the fastest way to pay everything off. But for illustrative purposes, since we were looking at the Avalanche method, I went ahead and entered these in according to the interest rates, just to show you. The credit card has the highest interest rate, 24%, so we are going to be paying extra towards the credit card first. You can see here $43,000 owed in total with the monthly minimums. Every single month you're going to pay $200 extra. That's $1,325 towards the debt. Here is the monthly repayment schedule. You can see the extra $200 will automatically go towards the highest interest debt, which is the credit card. So you'll pay the $450 plus $200 or $650 towards the credit card, and then the minimums on the student loan in the hospital. It will actually take you quite a bit to knock out that first debt. Once that first debt is paid, which happens to be the lowest interest, you will then take that $50 and then that will go extra towards the highest interest debt. In this case, it'll be $250 now going towards the credit card debt, so on and so forth until you're debt free. In this case, you will have all of the debt paid off in a shorter time frame, which would be 42 months. As you can see here though, it would have taken you 20 months to pay off the hospital bill, 25 months to pay off the car loan, 42 months to pay off the student loan, and 38 months to pay off the credit card. Let's see what this looks like in terms of your interest. Over the life of the loan, you will have spent $12,378 in interest. This is a difference of $3,500, and this is also paying everything off 3 months faster. Here you can see the small impact of having that $1,325 in your name to then invest and use for your future. 3 months that you paid everything off earlier, that would have been just under $4,000 or $3,975 that you could invest. Let's see what happens over 30 years, assuming a 10% interest. Come retirement age at 65, just that 3 payments of $1,325 invested will yield you with $69,361. Time is truly money. I want you to pay off those debts as fast as possible. That is the summary of the Avalanche and the Snowball method. Now, let's talk about the one thing that both these methods lack, in my opinion. The number one thing that these methods lack is specific terms. Let me explain. If you Google both of these methods, there is always going to be terminology to the effect of pay as much as you possibly can extra to your debt. And that extra amount, whether it's going towards the smallest debt or the highest interest, it's kind of vague, and it almost seems like you don't really know where to start. Should we be paying 50 extra, 100 extra, 200? There's no real terms. And the other thing is there is no actual deadline. It's just kind of like push as much as you can, be intense, and then see what happens. That is why I did things a little bit different with the Spartan Method. If you have not heard of the Spartan Method, this is because I coined this term in debt payoff strategy. Here's exactly what the Spartan Method is. The Spartan Method is where you take the Avalanche method, but fine tune it, crank that thing up, get a little more intensity. What this method is you are going to pay all of your minimums plus an extra Spartan amount or $300 towards your highest interest debt each and every month. The reason why I say $300, it's kind of like the Spartans. The 300 Spartans fought against this much larger Persian army. They were known for their discipline, their endurance, their structure. The reason why I say $300 is it's super specific. It's small enough that pretty much anyone can do it by cutting a few things or bringing in an extra income, but it's really big enough to make huge traction towards your debt. With the Spartan Method, my challenge for my best money class ever students is to pay all of their debts off, excluding a mortgage, within 36 months or less. Anytime you have a goal, you do want to have a deadline. There are a few reasons why. First reason is Parkinson's law. This is a theory that says any task will take the amount of time that you have allocated for it. Paying off debt is so important. This is your future. We want to have a hard deadline and plan. If you kind of have this vague sense of like, oh, I want to throw as much extra as I can and I'll finish this whenever I can as early. No, let's get more specific. For example, if you're new to the personal finance world, everybody kind of knows like saving and investing is a good idea. But what happens is you pay your rent, your insurance, your internet, something breaks, there's a thingy-mabob, a happy hour with friends, you get to the end of the month and there's nothing left to save. In the personal finance world, there's a strategy called pay yourself first, where you save and invest a percentage of your income before you have the chance to spend. This guarantees that you're saving money every single month. Same thing with debt. We want to have a guaranteed extra amount that's going to get you the results that you want. The starting amount for my students and for you, I want you to pay all of your minimums plus at least $300 extra. We want to crank that up to see exactly what it takes for you to pay it off within 36 months. There are people who have 6-figure student loan debt with a much higher debt load. To pay everything off within 36 months would be pretty tricky for you. In theory, though, you would have a law degree, a master's, medical degree, and a higher income to support that debt. However, though, if you do have a high debt load but a lower income, then I would adjust that deadline to do a 60-month time frame. Once you know exactly what it takes for you to pay everything off within 36 months or less, then you can do what I call an income or expense audit. If you want me to do a full other video on this, let me know in the comments below. For you to pay extra towards your debt, something's got to give. So you're going to have to, like I said, cut your expenses or increase your income. We want to make sure, though, we have that extra amount happening before the happy hours, before the concerts or whatever things. And then once we have that extra amount towards your debt, then you can spend guilt-free on whatever it is that you want throughout the month, knowing in the back burner you have a debt payoff plan that is automated, that's happening, and then it's going to be over in less than 3 years. Here we have the debt calculator with the same exact numbers. We are going to adjust. You want to have an extra 300 or more that will go towards the highest interest debt. So in this case, this would be pushing a little bit more. Let's take a look at the impact. You can see here by paying 300 extra, everything would then be paid off within 38 months. That doesn't quite do the trick, so then you'll want to put in a different amount and see. Here we'll do 375. By paying 375 extra, everything will be paid off within 36 months. Over the life of the loan, you would have then spent $9,688 versus the $12,378, which is a few extra $1,000 that you can save on interest. The phrases all across the internet with like, pay as much extra as you possibly can towards your debt is too vague for me. It's too vague. I need the structure. I need to know exactly what's going to happen. So I hope you like the Spartan Method as well. If you want to see again what it takes for you to pay off your debt within 36 months or less in the fastest possible way to do it, make sure and grab the financial day planner that I created. It is linked in the description below. I am here to hype you up. Now it is time for a best money class ever money win. I get so excited when I hear from people who think they're going to be paying off their debt for the rest of their life, and then they just enter their numbers and have the pan, boom, they're going to be debt free. This is exactly what happened with one student. She actually wrote in and said, the worksheet said if I add 300 to what I'm doing already, I will be debt free in 11 months. 11 months. Imagine less than a year from now, all of your debt is completely gone. If it happened for her, it can happen for you as well. I am really curious and I would love to hear from you. What is your debt payoff strategy? Are you doing the Snowball or Avalanche? Are you going to give the Spartan Method a try? Let me know. Spill your financial tea. Leave me a comment if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Thank you, my yellow groupers, for listening. Every single show has a dope name that they call their listeners. I am calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts. We get off track. We get behind. We get knocked down. We've been through some things. Nothing comes easy. The cards are stacked against us. The hands we are dealt are not ideal, but we don't ever give up. That is where our grit is born. Our trials, our adversities, that is what makes us stronger. Did you like this episode? If so, like it and subscribe. Be sure to share it with your friends who also geek out over personal finance. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you're listening. It really helps others who are on a mission to pay off debt and invest find this show. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now's the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for to pay off debt and invest, even if you have no idea where to start and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Are you tired of figuring this money stuff out on your own? You don't need to spend a lifetime stressed about money. You can turn things around in a month. I will show you exactly how. Best money class ever is my live and virtual 4-week personal finance class. Think of me as your personal finance consultant to help you get the results you want with money. Enrollment is currently closed. You want in? Get on the wait list. Head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com or the link below. You'll instantly get a 20-page guide with the finance plan so you can start a plan to pay off debt and invest now. As always, remember you only live once. Be smart with your money now. I'll catch you later. Bye.